Should you quit your own job or your full-time job to become a photographer? That's what we're discussing today. And I'm going to keep it very simple. We're going to talk about 3 things I think that you need in mindset in order to become a successful professional photographer. Now, to be clear, professional means someone paid for exclusively for photography, or at least your primary driving income. So those 3 things are this. The first is stop seeking validation from other people. Remember, we're talking about mindset here. If you're looking for validation from other people, whether that's your friends or family or your acquaintances, that's just not going to happen. Ultimately, I receive a lot of emails, and this has happened to me personally, where you're looking for validation from your friends and family. And the truth of the matter is, you haven't earned their validation. You haven't earned the right to seek their validation. Ultimately, what you're looking for is, hey, you're doing an amazing job, but you haven't done anything yet. You have to earn that. So what I want you to do is this. Seek self-validation. You have to go ahead and think about yourself and being successful. So as an example, my family, I got laid off of my full-time job before deciding to become a professional photographer, wanted me to be successful in life. They thought that the best route for me to do that was a full-time job. Now, that doesn't mean that they didn't believe in me as a photographer. They were just looking for the safest route necessary for me to be successful. And sometimes the safest route for them isn't what I'm passionate about. But I had to prove them wrong on the fact that I was going to be successful. It wasn't until I wrote my first 2 tax books that my family found that to be a valuable profession for me and the fact that I was doing something with my life. It wasn't until I showed my grandfather literally my income for the year until he was going to validate what I was doing every single year. Now, you need to go ahead and have that self-validation before you look for other people's validation. Which brings me to point 2. You have to give yourself the permission to succeed. I see a lot of photographers that are just in their own way. They don't believe in themselves, they do a lot of talking, but ultimately they have a hard time being able to validate what they do and feeling confident about that. So you have to have a validation of yourself and be self-confident in yourself that you're going to be successful. You have to allow yourself the permission to succeed. You can accomplish anything if you put in some elbow grease and make some educated decisions on whatever you're doing. Number 3, it comes down to being hungry. A lot of you just don't have what it takes to be successful because you're not hungry. And I'm talking about literally being hungry. So here's an example that I give everyone that is in my coaching sessions, in my business sessions. You have to be this hungry. How many of you have been in a situation where you couldn't afford to pay rent or your mortgage or some type of bill, and somehow you scraped by, you were creative with your food choices that week, you were creative with how you use the electricity, you found ways to cut corners to be able to pay that specific bill, but somehow you managed to make it even though it was against all odds. That's what it's like running a business 24/7. It's the lean marketing strategies. It's the fact that you have to be ambitious and creative with every single thing you do in order to be successful. That's the mindset that you need to be a successful business person, not just a photographer, an entrepreneur, a business person. You have to be that hungry. Those are the 3 things that you need in mindset to become a successful photographer. So let's look at that as a recap. Number 1, are you looking for validation from others? If so, stop it. Number 2, are you going to give yourself permission to succeed and get out of your own way? And number 3, you have to be hungry enough. You have to be dedicated enough and you have to be motivated enough. Those are the 3 things that you need besides the skills, besides the technical aspect. Those are the 3 things that you need in mindset to be successful. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, anything whatsoever, leave those in the comment section below. I appreciate your time. You guys have an amazing day.